This is an Apple AirTag. These are Amazon returns. And today, I'm gonna hide an AirTag in each one of them to find out what really happens to your Amazon returns. Think you already know? I thought so too, but I was wrong. If you're like me, you buy a lot of stuff on Amazon because shipping is fast and free. Plus returns are super easy and also free. Because of that, Amazon receives billions of dollars of returns every single year. But then what? You may think you've seen this story before. All of your returns just go to a landfill, right? Well, no. Amazon says that nothing goes to a landfill. We'll talk about that claim later. I've got a lot of questions, and I bet you do too. How much stuff gets returned? What happens to all that stuff? And what's the deal with those viral bin sales on TikTok? So in this video, I'm gonna visit one of those bin sales. I'm gonna spend days poring over Amazon documents and insider reports. And I'm gonna talk about the updates that Amazon just made that are gonna completely change the way this works now. But first, let's run an experiment. I just picked up some AirTags on Amazon, but I'm not sure what I want to put them in yet. I know I want to get a mix of different things, like some stuff that ships in one day and some that takes more than that. I definitely want to get something that's sold directly from Amazon and something that's sold by a third-party reseller. And once I get all of it, I'm gonna ship it back in different ways. I've also got to make sure that it's something that I can actually fit an AirTag in, plus a special message, which I'll talk about later. Turns out Amazon has a best sellers page, which is great news, because my hope is that these things go back and someone else buys them. And wouldn't you know it, the Stanley tumbler is the #1 bestseller. I kind of like this purple color. Lilac? What do you think? Out of stock. How about this green? Plus there's 1-day shipping. Buy it now, shows up tomorrow, order placed. I have never in my life worn a Croc, but they're also a bestseller on Amazon, so I'm gonna get some of those. Kind of like the white. What do you think? I mean, I guess I'm returning them anyway. I also just ordered this camera bag yesterday. I've already got one, but I thought I lost it. And then I found it. It's right here. So when the new one shows up tomorrow, I'll send it back. So tomorrow I'll pack these things up and send them out with AirTags in them. I'm also gonna visit one of those crazy bin stores, but that's it for today. Now I've got everything I need. My Stanley Quencher H2O tumbler, camera bag, and Crocs. Plus the AirTags. But I got a couple issues. One, Crocs have holes in them, so I'm not really sure how I'm gonna hide an AirTag in there. And two, if I got something from Amazon with an AirTag hidden inside of it, I'd probably freak out. So I think I'm gonna write some sort of a letter. Let me know what you think of this. Hey there, my name's Adam, and I'm running an experiment to see what really happens to Amazon returns. This item is completely new and unused, but I'm not sure if Amazon really treats it that way. This means you just want a free AirTag, or if you want to throw it out, that's cool too. Otherwise, email me and let me know if you bought this as new, used, open box, etc. Thank you, Adam. P.S. I don't have any way to track your personal information. I don't know who you are or anything about you. Think it's gonna work? I guess we'll find out. Finding a place for the AirTag in this camera bag is really simple. And so is the Stanley. For the Crocs, I'm gonna have to be a little bit more clever. The tracking is on, items are packed up. Let's go drop these things off. While we wait to see what happens to these returns, there's a few other things I want to check out. Good morning, I hope you're well. I'm at one of those bin stores you may have seen on TikTok. This is Concord, California, and Jackpot Bins is right behind me. According to their website, today is Restock Day. That means that yesterday this place is completely shut down so they can take out all the old inventory and move in new stuff. My understanding is that typically that would make a place like this super busy today on a Friday morning. We are in the middle of the biggest rainstorm of the season, so I thought that would cut down on traffic a little bit, but there is absolutely no one here. I think this place might just be closed. Yeah. It's closed. Bad news, it is in fact closed, but it looks like there's another one on the other side of Concord. Let's give that a shot. I wonder if bin sale stores aren't that great a business model. My Amazon returns are still just hanging out at the Whole Foods. It's been about a day, we'll see if anything changes. I'm at the next place and I don't really know what to say. It is 9 a.m. on a Friday. So they should be open. They have a lot of stuff in there, so it's not like it's closed for good. So I've done a little bit more research and I've learned quite a bit, but we'll talk about that later. There's another one in Vallejo that was live on Facebook 8 minutes ago. Vallejo is not that close to here, but it is the birthplace of a lot of Bay Area rappers, so we might as well check it out. I did not expect to be going to Vallejo today, but here we go. Vallejo, and we are here now. Vallejo never disappoints. It's a little after 10 a.m. and typically the strategy is to get there right at 9. So if my goal was to get the best deals, I've already lost on that. But this place is still crowded. Before I tell you how these things actually work, let's go take a look inside.
Those just came in, it's $10 per item today. Small, medium, or large.
That was intense. Most of the people there seem like families trying to score deals, people on a budget, which is awesome. So that was pretty cool. There was just a ton of stuff everywhere. One thing that I found super interesting, it was not run by Amazon. So how do they get all that stuff? By the way, it looks like my returns are finally on the move. Amazon ends up with a crazy amount of returns, so much that they really just don't know what to do with it. So they put it on a pallet and sell it to a third party. That third party then sells it to a place like these bin stores. They go through the pallets and put the stuff out in the bins and see who will buy it. It seems like that might be a slightly dubious business model based on the closed bin stores that I visited, but we might see a lot more of these in the near future. Let me show you why. For the past few hours, my returned AirTag items have been ping-ponging around the East Bay, and I don't really know what that means. So I don't really have any idea where they're headed at this point, but I'll keep an eye on them. Update. All 3 of the items are over by the Oakland airport. Looks like they're at some UPS warehouse. Good morning. All 3 of my returns have made it to a USPS warehouse out near Stockton. The next morning, all 3 returns went to different locations. But this wouldn't be the last time that they were together. The Crocs took a brief trip to a nearby warehouse while the Stanley went to party in Vegas. It stopped briefly at a sortation center, which is where Amazon figures out what they want to do with it. Not long after, the Crocs found their way to LA. Then, shockingly, the camera bag and Stanley reunited in North Las Vegas. Nothing happened for a few days, so let's get back to talking about how Amazon handles all this stuff. Because Amazon gets so many returns, there's no way they can deal in single item liquidations. They're dealing in pallets at the minimum. Amazon does have a website that allows you to buy liquidated items, but this isn't returns. This is more overstock. They deal with the returns in a different way. Companies like Bstock, Liquidation.com, and Direct Liquidation work with Amazon to take all of these pallets of return products. Then they typically auction them off or sell them to whoever wants to buy them. If that's one of these bin sale stores, that's fine. If it's someone else who wants to sell the product later in some other way, that's fine too. They don't really care. But what's really interesting is how much it costs to get rid of this stuff. A lot of the stuff sold on Amazon isn't sold directly by Amazon itself. It's sold by a third-party seller. If a third party's product is returned, that seller has a few options. And this is where things do get really interesting. But first, the Crocs are on the move. Heading east past the other items in Vegas through Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, and Oklahoma. Past Springfield to Indianapolis, it looks like someone bought them. Not to be outdone, the Stanley is about to start its own cross-country trip, and the camera bag has a problem. But that's for tomorrow. Let's get back to the inner workings of Amazon returns. A lot of these third-party sellers use FBA, or Fulfillment by Amazon. Basically, that just means they send all their products to an Amazon warehouse, and when something's sold, they let Amazon handle all the in-between. When something gets sent back to Amazon and they don't feel like selling it as new again, the seller has three main choices. Based on what the item actually is, the seller will have to pay some sort of fee for returns processing, and there's not a ton they can do about that. They can choose to throw it out, donate the item, or have it sent back to them. And of course, there are fees for all of this. Those fees vary based on the size, weight, and cost of the item. So it's a calculation that the seller has to make. They claim that nothing is actually thrown out, and we will talk about that in a moment. But Amazon just made a change that will alter the way this works. Back in Vegas, we've got movement with the Stanley. It's headed west, and eventually made it to the same building that the Crocs were in yesterday. Speaking of the Crocs, they're on the move too. Through Chicago, Milwaukee, and Madison, where it looks like they'll spend the night. The Stanley made it to an airport outside of LA and landed in Houston. Less than an hour later, the Crocs made it to a tiny post office in Falls River, Wisconsin. After over a month in the Amazon return system, it looks like both the Crocs and the Stanley will be out for delivery on the same day. I'll tell you the winner in just a moment, but first, what's changing with Amazon returns? For 2024, they have updated the fees that they charge for people who want to throw out their returned items, and those prices have increased. This likely means that there will be more stuff sent to liquidation centers, and that not as much will be thrown out. Disposal fees also apply to things that are donated, so this could mean that there are fewer items donated as well. So who won the race? I turned off tracking as soon as they went out for delivery, so I don't know who these were sent to, and I don't know when they actually arrived at someone's home. But the Stanley was out for delivery a day before the Crocs. What's going on with the camera bag? Well, there's a battery issue. It's still just sitting in that warehouse in Vegas, and it has been for a few weeks now, so I don't know if this thing will ever get delivered. If you like this video, I'm sure you'll like this one too. And if you want to see more, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Oh, one more thing. How can Amazon possibly claim that none of the returns go to a landfill? That's because they just send it to an energy recovery facility, which means they're burned with a bunch of other garbage. Technically, I guess they're not lying.